Welcome to Bikers and Backroads, a podcast about everything Harley-Davidson. We're your hosts, Jason and the Big Z. So sit back and join us as we ride into this week's conversation on Bikers and Backroads. Hey, thanks again for downloading the most recent episode of Bikers and Backroads. If you're watching us on YouTube, you found us on our YouTube channel. But we're also on every audio podcast platform you can get on. We're on iTunes, Podbean. We're on Spotify. We're on Amazon Music. We're everywhere you can find an audio podcast. End of a week. We're sorry we're a day late, but we both have had hectic work weeks. Xander got stuck out of town all week. He usually shoots home and we try to film this in the middle of the week or do the podcast in the middle of the week and edit it and put it out on Fridays, but we're a day late. We thank you for looking for us. We posted something on the YouTube channel just asking for a little more patience, but we're back. We're here. We're episode 10. And we plan on staying here. What's up, man? Long week.
Yeah, long week. Glad to be home after a couple late days and just hectic and ready to enjoy some time with some family and friends this weekend.
We have another home football game at Joan C. Edwards Stadium down in Huntington, West Virginia. Big win last week for the Herd. We played in all three phases, special teams, turnovers. We had defense flying around. We had offense putting up points. Let's go down and watch them again. Kickoff at 3:30, Joan C. Edwards. Let's go Herd.
Yeah.
So tell me about last week. You got a little chance to engage in something that's here local. Again, it's fall season. It's turning into the Halloween, the autumn season. And tell us a little bit about what you got into.
Yeah, last week got a free day and during the weekend. So got to talking with a friend. I grabbed my girlfriend and he grabbed a friend of his, and we took off on our bikes. And first we had to check out some things at Bass Pro Shop. They didn't have what we needed some arrows because we're in hunting season now here in West Virginia along with most parts of the United States. But they didn't have the arrows we were looking for. So but to get there, we took off here from the house and rode down Route 60, come up through South Charleston, and got into great, we hit 119, which is a 4-lane, but we stayed on Route 60 to get there. But after that, we stopped and got some lunch and had a good time, but we realized we had time to get to a little local place around here. And if you live anywhere near West Virginia, you should check it out, Grits Farm. But we realized we didn't have much time to get there, so we hopped on Interstate 64, and we blasted the interstate to get there as quick as we could, got off at Route 35 and crossed over the bridge and went down through a beautiful town of Eleanor, West Virginia, to get to Grits Farm. Then you turn off, and you're on a little 2-lane road that's curvy and fun on a bike, but you got to be careful because it does eventually turn into a 1-lane road. I'm not saying this to deter you from riding bikes. There's a lot of people that ride bikes out to the Grits Farm, and but you just be aware that there are going to be some times that you might have to either stop or you're going to be really over towards the shoulder. So if you're riding your bike there, take caution of that and be prepared. There are some blind corners, so just ride cautiously, but you're going to be fine. But then we had a great time there, and when it started getting dark, we rode out, and still all was good. Everybody had a good time. But yeah, like I said earlier, if you are from close to like the Charleston area, Huntington area of West Virginia, you should check out Grits Farm. It's a great little spot. It's a local place, so we're going to plug local small businesses. This is a huge farm that's actually worked as a farm. They do produce and sell goods and vegetables and things. But in the fall, they turn it into Grits Fun Farm, and they have, corn maze and all these things. One thing I love is they have the big air cannons, and you shoot apples out of it into big metal targets, shoot at Bigfoot and a tractor and everything. They have, tractor hay rides and all that stuff. But, man, they got some great food and some treats and ice cream that they make all in-house there. So yeah, it's a great family day, great date night. That's what we did. There were 4 of us and we had a ball, but good little ride. Not, anything crazy, not a, scenic route necessarily, but we did get to see some things that I've went there many times throughout my life. And always on a motorcycle, I noticed a few things I'd never seen before. So it was a great little ride, great little getaway, and enjoyed every second of it.
We're getting into the time of year. They took off in regular long sleeve shirts and they came home in jackets. So back to a couple episodes of our thrashing bags, you were able to store some jackets, one for you, one for the girlfriend. Keep everybody nice and safe. This is West Virginia riding season. You're going to take off in 3 layers. You're coming home in 1 layer.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have to embrace it. It's 37 degrees when I left for work this morning.
Yeah.
And it's 72 degrees when I pull in and I'm standing in my garage talking to some contractors doing some work here. But that day, those days on your bike, you have to be prepared, and it helps to have a little bit of storage. So that little ride led us into discussing this week's park, and I'm again going to kick it to my man.
Yeah, so on that ride, I got to thinking about, comfort for me and my girlfriend on the back. And this is one of the better upgrades I've done, and that would be my Lepera kickflip step-up seat. If you're looking into, riding a Harley, or if you have it, sometimes a stock seat don't fit you. And one of the better upgrades you can do to make your bike fit you and be more comfortable is a seat. Now, my Lepera I went with the diamond stitch because I'm not pounding miles. Diamond stitches are on my Dyna necessarily. Now, I will ride all day, but this seat is not one that you're going to want 800 miles nonstop with. Now, there are guys that do it, and can it be done? Yeah. But like I said, mine's a diamond stitch. Diamond stitches are known to be a little bit less on the padded and comfort side. You're going with diamond stitch more for a look, and I liked the aesthetic style of it pleasing. And I went with the kickflip on the Lepera, mainly because I like the way it looks. You get that little bit of a little kick up flare on the back that looks cool aesthetically whenever it's nobody on the back, but my girlfriend really enjoys it because it kind of helps her feel like she can't slide off the back. Now, granted, I do run a little sissy bar for her all the time when she's on it, but it will also kind of help lock in that passenger if you're riding with someone behind you. But yeah, this is a great seat. Something I like about a Lepera is they have a metal seat pan on the bottom, and covering that metal, they have this nice felt, so that way you'll never scratch your paint up. And it keeps the bike, from rubbing paint off, and you're not going to get any scratches. I always take my seat off when I clean my bike anyway, just to keep it from getting waterlogged. But there's never any, scratches or dirt, or there is dirt and dust underneath of it, but a simple wipe of the felt and it'll come off, and then you spray off your bike and you're good to go. I tend to not let my bike sit long enough to get it, very dirty underneath and not have to worry about the clear coat. But that is a nice thing that Lepera does, because they are a metal seat pan. They put that felt covering on it as just an extra level of protection. But this was a great upgrade. It's one of my favorite things I've done to my bike, just because I love that look of a kick step-up seat, and that kick flip on the back is, I've gotten more people ask me about this seat just off of the passenger little kick up right here than the step up itself. And this step up might not be the highest of them all, but it's great and I like it. It gives me a little bit more on my lower back. It helps me lock in. I feel like it kind of scooted me back a little bit compared to my stock seat that I had. And it's also fairly skinny in the front. I mean, as you can tell, this Lepera gets kind of skinnier when it grabs to the tank. And for me, being not the longest legs, that's pretty comfortable for me, but that's something you should take into consideration. Now, I would highly recommend this seat. I've not had a problem with it. I will go ahead and say, though, that Leperas are known for having a long or very stringent break-in period. And this was about, I'd say, 800 to 1,000 miles on this seat that it took me to break it in. Now, if you have the chance to ride more often than me, it might break in a little bit faster, but I guess it's kind of all different for everybody. But I know a lot of people say about 500 to 800 miles, and mine was probably more right at that 800-mile range. But this is a great seat. I recommend it. And if you're looking for a seat, look into the Lepera kickflip.
We're talking back, everything in this seat goes back to the rider triangle. It scooted him back a little bit. It's lumbar support with a step up. We both run step up seats. And that little kick flip off the back, it does look cool. It is good for that passenger. But that was one of the first things he went for on his bike. And I think he is really pleased with it. I mean, he's probably put 5,000 miles on that seat at least. And it still looks as good as the day we broke it out of the box. The leather has held up fantastic.
Absolutely.
They're just known. They are an investment. When you think about putting a $500, most seats are $500 range by the time you get them shipped. When you talk about putting $500 into something, one, it better be comfortable. It needs to look good. And you're doing that for an upgrade, and it helps your rider triangle. It helps your ability to log miles. It helps just the cushion part. Some of them are definitely more well built underneath for the seat pan, which saves the frame rubs, the electric box that sits under your seat. All that has better clearance with the way those seats are designed. So with that being said, we're going to jump into segment number 3. And segment number 3 is going to be based on just some of the feedback we received from doing the helmet video last week. We talked about our helmets, what we liked about them, what we don't like about them. I went out earlier this week and I tried on a couple new helmets. I'll review those in a couple weeks. We're not going to try to stay in a helmet rut. But we got some feedback on the helmet rating system, and we didn't want to go down that rabbit hole last week while we were introducing the product. But we knew we were going to do a follow-up video. So we're going to go into the helmet rating system. And we talked about there are 3 that we look at the most that are more prominent. And that's a DOT rating, an ECE rating, and in the United States, there's a Snell rating. So I'm going to start and we're going to talk about DOT, which is the lowest standard for helmets. The lowest standard you can ride legally in the United States with a helmet is DOT. And that means it meets the minimum legal safety standard, which is FMV SS218, if anyone wants to look that up. And it includes testing for impact testing at specific angles, velocities, and penetration tests throughout the shell, throughout the visor, and a chin strap test on how well it is anchored to the shell to protect your head and make sure it doesn't come off in a collision of said test velocities and types of crashes. Chin straps that are strongly attached to ensure staying on during the crash have to be at least a minimum width. It's a minimum of 0.75. That's the thickness for the inner liner. I apologize. The chin straps have to be a minimum size to even qualify to be a DOT. You notice that most DOT helmets are a certain width of chin strap. It's roughly like an inch. I think it's 3/4 of an inch. But they have to meet that. If they're smaller than that, they won't even pass DOT. Peak acceleration transferred to the head during impact cannot exceed 400 Gs in a DOT test. The acceleration pulse greater than 200 Gs through your helmet to your head can't last longer than 2 milliseconds. A pulse greater than 150 Gs can't be longer than 4 milliseconds. These are impact tests, all that have to be passed by DOT. The biggest thing with DOT is a DOT certification goes and pulls helmets off the shelf that are already there for random certification to see if they pass or not. The biggest thing is DOT lays out guidelines, and if manufacturer helmets hit those guidelines, the chin strap wide enough, the inner liner being 0.75 inches at least thick, and usually they have to be made of polystyrene foam. The visors have to provide 105 degrees of peripheral vision. And they have to meet those impact tests. And they can't exceed a penetration test throughout places on the shell or through the visor. The DOT lays out those regulations, and if a manufacturer builds a helmet to those specs, they can automatically put a DOT sticker on there and ship it out. And then later, maybe DOT comes and pulls that helmet off the shelf and tests it. And if it doesn't meet it, they'll pull them, You have to recall the helmets, all that jazz. But there's probably not enough DOT testing for every helmet manufacturer. So there is a chance with DOT that you're getting some fake DOTs.
Yeah.
I've even seen fake DOT stickers
that you can put on aftermarket
falling around anywhere at rallies. You could probably print them off yourself, stick them on an illegal helmet, and put a DOT sticker on it. And if anybody ever checks your helmet, have you ever had anybody check your helmet riding?
No, but I did have a school police officer when I was in high school. He asked me, he said, "Is your helmet DOT approved?" And I said, "It is," but he never checked it.
Yeah. I've never been asked to prove the certifications on my helmet. By even getting an inspection, showing up at a dealership, going through a traffic stop, talking to police officers that are my friends, nobody has ever asked me to look at the stickers or the DOT approval on my helmet. So the biggest thing is fake DOT helmets exist. Fake DOT stickers are out there. But that doesn't mean that DOT approved helmets are not some good helmets out there. I believe certain manufacturers have certain price points for helmets, and they know if they hit those specs, they can sell multiple units of that helmet to multiple people. It meets multiple people's needs, and it is a quality helmet. And rather than send it off to an independent certification, which is an ECE, which we're going to talk about, or the Snell we're going to talk about, they make the helmet, it fits the DOT regulations, they can put it on the shelf, they can sell it in a price point, people are going to buy it. My helmet is just DOT regulated.
Yeah.
I do not feel unsafe wearing my helmet. It is cushioned. It has a good chin strap. It fits me well. It's not the most snug fit, but we talked about I'm kind of in between sizes there. Do I think if I went down in my helmet, it would do the job minimally or as best it can be designed to protect me? Yes, I do. I don't feel like I bought a bad product because it was just DOT. Like I said, I think manufacturers don't send every helmet off for advanced certification ratings knowing they've built a helmet that they can sell. If you've built a helmet and you know it's going to sell better in the United States, why send it off to Europe and get it rated? Some do, some don't. But so the DOT is your entry and base level testing. It's mandatory for riding with a helmet here in the United States in states that require you to ride with a helmet.
Yeah.
But you can get brain buckets that are DOT.
Yeah.
And you can get full face helmets that are DOT. And you can get modular helmets that are DOT. So as long as they meet the minimum requirements for that shape of helmet, they can pass DOT regulation. You can just put them on the shelf as DOT with your sticker, and they can be sold. And unless they're taken off later and tested and proven otherwise, they're going to continue to be sold for years. So now, that's the DOT part. Xander's going to talk about ECE, which is a rating up above that.
Yeah. So ECE is your next step above, and that ECE stands for the Economic Commission for Europe. They've got some, stronger safety laws over in Europe. So that's kind of one of the main things that ECE is kind of looked for. A lot of guys want a DOT. They have to have a DOT helmet here in America. And then, especially here in West Virginia, because we're a helmet required state. But ECE, some guys look for because they know they're getting a little bit better of a helmet. So the ECE is widely recognized as the international standard, and especially in Europe. In Europe, they've got to have an ECE helmet. They can't just have a DOT helmet. So the new standard for ECE is 22.06, but ECE 22.05 helmets are still sold. You can still find those, but that 2206 is their newest and best rating and most newer level. So tests for helmet's ability to protect against impact for various speeds. Now, over in Europe, they don't do miles an hour, so they're looking for 6 meters a second, 7.5 meters a second, and 8.2 meters a second on those various speeds. And that's to compare slow speed versus high speed scenarios. They test for an increased number of impact points. They test from 6 to 18, requiring a more advanced helmet shell for better overall protection of a helmet. They have a rotational impact test to assess for glancing blows like hitting curbs or a car bumper or with the helmet. So the chin bar and visor testing, they do at a certain speed for this test, and there's a new penetration tests are conducted on visors, including tests for optical quality with a pin lock fitment. The pin lock is anti-fogging layer and on the interior of the visor. Flip helmets tested for more rigorous impact testing. So that would be, your modulars that flip up and stuff. And the chin bar is open and closed in certain positions for those tests. And then they also test on all of the helmet accessories like your intercoms, making sure that has no impact on the safety of the shell and internals of that helmet. So as you can see, their testing is like a next step up. They kind of do where DOT does the broad range of saying, is this going to help? Yeah, it's going to help you. This is approved. And really the main thing is if you're not riding with the helmet, we're firm believers of having a helmet on. A helmet's going to help you better than no helmet, whether that's DOT or no ECE. But that's not what we're going to get into on this topic. But that ECE takes into consideration some of the things the DOT does not do. So ECE will take in the fine tuning of a helmet, where DOT is like, yeah, this is a helmet and it's protection. The ECE is going to take up that next level and do the more higher speed, and then also do the lower speed than DOT. And then they'll meet everything in between. Your rotational impact tests, knowing that test is there, so you're glancing off of if that helmet is sliding and you're glancing off of a curb or you are glanced off of a car bumper, that helmet's tested to be able to protect your head and brain from that sudden kind of swoop motion that you're going to hit and bounce off. But that's something DOT doesn't test for, or at least that we know of. So that ECE is a great thing to look for.
And another thing we have here in America is we have SNELL certification, and the SNELL is a memorial foundation. It's a third-party helmet certification. And a few years ago, you couldn't ride a helmet on a racetrack that wasn't SNELL certified because ECE wasn't a big thing over here. But when you break down what a SNELL rated helmet is, and I believe my HJC I used to ride my Buell in was a DOT and a SNELL. There was no ECE sticker. We're talking 2000s when I had that helmet.
Yeah.
That SNELL was the advanced certification. This helmet manufacturer sent that helmet to a third-party evaluator, and they put the helmet through more stringent testing than DOT. Well, it comes to find out that the SNELL testing mimics the ECE 2205 guideline. They are mirrors of the same testing. And now with the new ECE 2206, we have something that's more advanced than even SNELL, but there are SNELL ratings that appear on helmets. It requires thicker closure materials. SNELL required better penetration testing than DOT throughout different places on the shell. Back impact, side impact, forehead impact, chin impact, things of that nature. They had to do fit tests. The SNELL took head shape and made sure what helmet manufacturers fit different head shapes best to help them market to the best consumer they could benefit with that rating on that helmet. Like SNELL would even list the helmets that were certified on their own materials. It may have been a website back then. It may not have been. But you could search that stuff and get it from SNELL, like catalogs and things of that nature. But SNELL was one of the biggest things that tested chin bars in closed face helmets around here. DOT addressed the chin bar the Snell really looked at the integrity of a chin bar for, you're talking race helmets back then, and pretty much performance street helmets. Face shield penetration tests, not only at the pinch points or the hinge points, but also in the vision areas, like penetrating something, cracking your shield. Shields had to be made out of certain materials and things. Snell certification was voluntary for manufacturers, and most racing circuits, like I said, required Snell certification for you to even be able to put your bike on a track. But here's another thing. Modular helmets can be ECE rated. Sometimes that's a price point of $500 to $600. The Shoei Neotech 3 is a $1,000 helmet. It's ECE. You have one brain. You should pay what you're able to pay to have the best helmet you can have. I will tell you that helmets come in various shell sizes. Some are round, some are moderate oval, some are semi-oval, some are larger oval. Based on the shape of your head, there is a helmet brand and style that will fit you best. I just tried on 4 of the top helmets on Monday, and 2 that I thought I would really like were the most uncomfortable things on my head. They didn't fit me well. And a helmet that blew me away was the new Neotech 3. I had never been a fan of the Shoei Neotech 2. Mm-hmm. I thought it was overpriced. It underperformed. It didn't fit me comfortable. It was uncomfortable in the head area of the cap. It was uncomfortable with the cheek pads. The Neotech 3 is light years better helmet, seated wise. I was blown away by the HJC i9 modular. Phenomenal helmet, only DOT approved, but it felt tremendously better than my Senna Outrush that I wear currently. So there are things we have to decide what we're going to do. But here's the deal. Snell rating doesn't even test modular helmets. So if you find an ECE 2206 or a 2205 modular helmet, you know you're riding with the safest modular helmet you can ride. So wrap this up for us.
So with all this, the safest helmets are going to be your full face helmets, and those full face helmets that are going to be your top level safest, and the safest helmet is going to have a DOT, ECE, and a Snell sticker on it. Those are your all 3 certifications. But
you can have a combination. If you have that ECE 2206, you don't need the Snell sticker. No. Maybe that helmet company realized that the European standard is now better than the Snell Memorial standard and just did the ECE. If you have an ECE 2206, you were tested at a higher rate than Snell tests helmets. And they even test modulars.
Yeah.
So, that's just what we're saying. There's so much information out there. You could go down rabbit holes and end up confused. This is just us processing information. I mean, we took pages of notes on this stuff to be able to condense it into a 15-minute segment to bring it to you. But we were asked these questions. What's the best helmet? I see DOT. That's my price range. Is that a terrible helmet? That's not a terrible helmet.
No. It's going to do the job.
It's
a helmet is better than no helmet.
Yeah.
And having that DOT is going to make sure, 1, that it is tested at all.
Yeah.
2, that you're legal.
It's built under specific guidelines. That's the biggest thing. Your house is built under guidelines.
Yeah.
But it is inspected as it goes. Yeah. DOT is not inspected as it goes.
No.
ECE, I believe, is inspected as it goes.
So, with that, the second safest helmet is going to be your modular helmet that's DOT and ECE rated. Especially if you're the newest ECE 2206. Snell won't even do modular helmets. Now, is that saying that there is some modular helmets that would pass Snell? Probably they would. But if you've got that newest 2206 ECE, that's a little bit better testing, and that would put it with the Snell rating, but it's not tested by Snell, so you're not going to have the Snell sticker. And then with that, your 3/4 helmets, they're only going to be DOT certified. And that's probably the third and least safe helmet style. And that's your, brain buckets. Well, the 3/4 helmet is, your true helmet that doesn't have a face shield. And those are usually just DOT certified. Your brain buckets are probably going to fall under that too. They're going to be just DOT certified. But like we said, a helmet is better than no helmet. So we both suggest a full face. Dad has a modular. I don't have a modular, but I'm looking for a modular. So if you ask me, I would say, hey, a modular is a pretty good thing to look at just to be able to flip that up out of your way at a gas station or a store, because everybody knows you don't always want to take your helmet off when you're walking in just to grab a water or something while you're pumping gas. So to take away from this, the DOT is a minimum standard. ECE 2206 and Snell are your advanced ratings. All ECE and Snell rated helmets are DOT approved, but not all DOT approved helmets are Snell or ECE rated. So if you're in the price point that you can afford it, which I think there's helmets out there now that meet these standards that will meet all different price points. If you're wanting something that's a little bit more tested and you're getting a safer helmet than just the bare minimum, look for that ECE rating. It's like I said earlier, 2206 ECE is the newest. You can still find helmets that are 2205 rated, and they are going to be still safer than ECE, just DOT. So I suggest looking for one that's probably got that ECE sticker on it. But I'm sure there are videos out that somebody has that is not affiliated with these that is testing these helmets, and so look that up for yourselves. But this is what we found off of our research. Like Dad said, we took notes, we looked into this, we talked about this stuff on the phone about every night this week while I was gone. And we were kind of excited to talk about this, especially because we had, some comments from last week about it, which we are so stoked that y'all are commenting and giving us feedback. These have been some of our favorite segments to do, is the ones that y'all have asked us for or talked to us about, that we decided, like today we got someone reached out, and in this helmet, we decided to dive more into the topic. Like Dad said, we weren't originally going to get deep into this last week, where we were just talking about the part, which is our helmets. But that comment made us want to dive deeper into this subject and kind of bring you some of the things we found.
Yeah, this in-depth stuff might not be for everybody, and you can skip over it. And I still believe that whether you're a seasoned rider or dreaming of your first Harley Davidson, we're the spot for you, because we got some stuff to share with you. Go on Cycle Gear YouTube channel, Revzilla. Those people do phenomenal gear ratings. They do helmet ratings. They sell this stuff. If you can go in a Cycle Gear store or a JMP cycle close to you, you're going to find some very educated people about the product they sell, because in those places you usually find people that are passionate about riding and things of that nature. So they're going to give you, hey, I use this helmet. Have you ever tried this? Or hey, we have a 2024 model of this versus the 2025 model of this. Price point might be a little different, same certification. That's all knowledge. You can look, you can search and find helmet information. But now if you're armed with, hey, I know I want an ECE modular. What are my brands? What are my fitments? Where should I start? I tried on the Scorpion modular, ECE rated, 297 to 320, based on if you had to have a bigger size, like the double XL, and I think it even went up to a triple XL, maybe.
Colorways can play a part in the price.
And this one was black, so the next, and different solid colors were 297 to 300, and print graphic helmets were up in that 320 range. But that was a solid helmet. The shape of the shell didn't fit me as good. It didn't fit me as good as the HJC. It didn't fit me as good as the Neotech. Or it didn't fit me as good as the Bell or the Simpson. But I just named 5 helmets. We went from $290 to $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
So you can find your helmets in the price range. Again, the HJC, the I-9 was only DOT approved. But if you can't be safe when you ride, I would question if you should ride right then. I want you to ride. I want you to find your passion. I want you to do this. We love this. This is what we do. But you got to be safe. Do we wear all the safety gear? No. We didn't bring you a jacket video.
Yeah.
We don't ride in jackets. Should we? Probably. Yeah. You should dress for the slide, not the ride, they say. We are both looking at picking up leather vests. I do have a leather jacket I ride in when it's cold. Xander rides in a lined fleece. It may have some body armor. I forget what you've got. But we've looked at some protective stuff like that. We just haven't purchased it, so we can't tell you what we think about it.
No.
So
bare minimum, we're always in jeans.
Yeah, we ride in jeans. We ride in boots or high-top sneakers.
Yeah, I'm always in leather shoes.
I will ride in Vans. You can judge me for that if you want to.
I ride in Vans a lot.
I always wear gloves. I will ride in short sleeves. I'm not telling you to be just like me, but I'm going to talk about things that I know about. Now, I would much rather ride with long sleeves on because sunburn, windburn, I think it makes my arms tingle forever when I get done riding in that wind. I just hate that sensation.
Feels
but again,
like every hair on your
a,
arm is a spider.
Throw a long sleeve shirt on. I'm going to ride. I'm going to peel that sucker off, put it in my bag. I'm going to have a t-shirt on under it, and I'm ready to roll. But that being said, wear gear. Wear a helmet.
Bare minimum, wear a helmet.
We are believers in helmets. But you be you. That's a joy of being an adult. You get to decide. The statistics show the significant reduction in fatalities if someone is just wearing a helmet. I'm sure their statistics will show if you're wearing leather this or Kevlar lined pants and stuff, but the statistics are out there way more numerous for just wearing a helmet. You got one brain. Yeah, what if you live and you have a traumatic brain injury and you just aren't who you are anymore? And it could have been saved by putting a $200 helmet on.
Yeah.
You have one brain, man. Protect that. Do I think you should go out and buy every $1,000 helmet you see? No. I think you should buy what meets your needs, what you're comfortable in, because what you have confidence in, you feel better in, right?
Absolutely.
Don't ride above your skill level. Keep your head on a swivel. All the safety gear in the world doesn't matter if you're not paying attention to that car that slams into you, right?
Yeah.
You're looking ahead. It's just you're thinking of things like that. But a helmet's just a place to start. We thank you guys for the questions about helmets. I've got people messaging me about helmets I didn't even know existed, and brands of helmets we haven't even had a chance to look at or test. And they're excited about, hey, I found a new helmet and it's this and it's ECE rated and I'm going to go try it on. And that's awesome because I haven't laid my eyes on that helmet personally. I've just seen it and they're giving us some feedback. So we're going to keep responding to these questions. Now, segment number 4. Unless you've been living under a rock and you don't watch us very much, we talk about Harley Davidsons. We love Harley Davidsons. It's in our DNA, I think. We love Harley Davidsons. As much as we bleed black and orange, I love motorcycling. I love motorcycle community. I sat on a Ducati Panigale V4S the other day, and if I had $35,000, I'd have brought that sucker home. Because, man, that just lights my fires. But big news in motorcycle culture this week. Indian has been sold by Polaris. Indian Motorcycle was under the Polaris Motorsports, Power Sports, I guess, umbrella. Indian was sold to Carolwood LP, which is a private equity firm out of Los Angeles, California. The sale will be done by the first quarter of 2026. It will make Indian a standalone company for the first time since, I think, the 50s. Indian Motorcycle started in 1901. They herald themselves as the U.S.'s oldest motorcycle company. They are not the oldest continuous run motorcycle company. They have actually shut their doors and closed multiple times and had their brand revised by corporate buyouts, people buying the intellectual rights, which is naming rights, badges, and things. And the most recent was Polaris bought them in the early 20 teens. Ended up buying the name of Indian. Polaris had Victory.
Killed Victory for Indian.
Killed Victory, put the Indian badges on it. Victory was a
solid bike.
A substantial bike in the
great
culture.
Bikes. The breakouts were awesome.
Those bikes were nice. Arlen Ness had teamed up with them and built some collab editions. I mean, that is a powerhouse in aftermarket stuff. They were some beautiful bikes. And the Victory people felt abandoned, and we're not going to go down that road. But Indian became the lead ship for Polaris in on-road, over-road, street bike motorcycles. They also own, Slingshot, and they also own the Can-Am Spiders and things like that. But under that umbrella, here's the deal with Polaris. Indian motorcycle sales accounted for 7% of Polaris Company's income in 2024. It was over $400 million. And it was just 7% of what, that's like a hobby. They had a hobby, little motorcycle company, that they had resurrected. They did good by Indian. And I know people are against Indians, and I'm not the guy that says friends don't let friends buy Indians. Ride what you ride. Love what you love. There are as many people passionate about Indian as there are people passionate about Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson has a larger grasp, and they have a larger stake in the motorcycle community. We have a stronger market share.
Stronger aftermarket support.
But there is one motorcycle company that has been growing in the past 3 years, and it's Indian.
Absolutely.
Even when Harley has seen a little dip, Indian has been growing. So, back to the sale. Indian's going to become its own standalone company. They're going to keep the same dealer networks. Every employee is transitioning over to the standalone company. They're keeping both their factories, the one in Iowa and the one in Minnesota. They're keeping the research and development center in Bergdorf, Switzerland. Their new leader, Mike Kennedy. Mike Kennedy, who is he? Harley Davidson just got a new CEO. Artie Starrs was at Topgolf, was at Pizza Hut. Who's Mike Kennedy? Well, Mike Kennedy worked with Harley Davidson in corporate administration for 26 years. Then he was the CEO of Vance & Hines. And then he was the CEO of Rumble Lawn. He is motorcycle culture. Yeah. He was in the design and marketing side of Harley Davidson. I mean, he has sat in the room with the who's who's. He has sat in the room with Willie G. About to unveil a new bike and talking about design. He has sat in the room when some major powerhouse bikes from Harley Davidson came out. When Harley Davidson went through the AMF buyback. This is a different situation. Indian is going to be its own standalone company. Harley Davidson never ceased to exist as a standalone company. AMF just owned them. But in the 80s, when Harley Davidson got the money from the employees and Willie G, and they went and bought Harley Davidson back and made it back into its own company, this kind of has a feel like that. Not the same premise, but Indian becoming its own standalone company, it's good for competition.
Yeah.
There is going to be new passion at Indian. It helps drive aftermarket. It helps drive technology upgrades. Let's be honest. Indian has had some technology upgrades at a faster pace than Harley Davidson. We've been and looked at many Indians. I don't think the fit and finish is there.
No. Their plastics on their inner fairings on the Challenger, I don't think that is as nice. I think you've got some more creaks and you can push on things a little bit more than Harley Davidson. The fit and finish is not there. I mean, if you look at them, granted, it's a cruiser bike is a cruiser bike is a cruiser bike. I think that's a lot of, copy and paste stuff here and change it this way so it doesn't look like we fully copied you. But Indian is Indian and Harley is Harley. But I think this is going to bring a whole new age to Indian, and we could see some cool bikes that are going to be like eye catchers and put some serious power numbers down on a dyno or something. We might see a way bigger turn in the Battle of the Baggers. They bring these bikes to the racing world.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be something cool in motorcycle community, but we talk about Harleys here mostly, so what's this going to do for Harley? What's going to be their, fight back to this thing?
I think you watch what happens, and you give. I mean, Indians probably going and they've got their things set up for 26. You're going to let that roll. Then you're going to see their creativity. I think one of the things they lack in, you don't see people rocking Indian motorcycle shirts.
No,
their apparel side and their marketing side seems to get caught up in the wash of everything that is Polaris. And kudos to Polaris. They own everything. I mean, they make from ski-doos and, snowmobiles to jet skis. They make three-wheel trikes, four-wheelers. They do side-by-sides. They have it all. So they just have said, hey, we're going to sell off Indian. But they're not dumping Indian because they're still maintaining a small share. They're just selling the majority stake to the private equity firm. So they know what they have. A large company like that wouldn't take the financial risk of building that brand and then dumping it. I think they see what Indian could be. Maybe they see in their own hallways the limitation. The guy that is CEO of on-road production of like Can-Am and everything on highway for Polaris, that guy's set to retire. So what a better option than to spin this off into its own company. If it's $400 million plus at 7% of Polaris, could it be solvent at $400 million enough to, go on? And then this company buys them. It's a private equity firm. It has a longevity from 2014. This Carolwood LP has been involved in some major iconic American brands. But here's the deal. They've never sold a company that they've acquired. They don't buy them, tear them down, and sell them off. They are still involved with every company they've ever purchased the majority share of, and they're rolling strong. They're highly selective in who they get involved with. I mean,
they're based out of California.
LA.
Is this an American company?
Yeah.
So this is a great thing. Also, you're seeing an American company. Yeah. They're going to try to help build another American company. Yeah. And that's the main thing. So
Indian is always, they're manufactured here in America. I mean, they have a headquarter in Arizona. They have an engine factory up in Minnesota, Osceola, Minnesota. Their assembly plant is in Iowa. I mean, we're talking 900 employees are not losing their job. They're going to go to work for their own company, not Indian as part of Polaris. And how long have they worked there and nobody from Polaris walked through their factory? Maybe they're really hands-on.
Yeah.
But I think that gives you a little bit of pride. We are now a resurrected, standalone company, and a private equity firm thought enough to buy us back.
Yeah.
And let us go for it. You either sink or swim. It's corporate.
And
America.
We're going to get to see Indian go, hey, we're Indian. We're going to build this motorcycle, and this is the motorcycle we want to build. They're not going to have anybody over their head saying, we don't think that motorcycle will sell. So you might see some whole new bikes from Indian come out, and I think it's going to be really cool to see where this goes.
I think you're going to see Indian start attracting younger market guys. I mean, the big wheel skirts and the fringy bags of traditional older Indian owners, those are great bikes. They're just not for everybody. Indian released the Sport Chief this year. That's a sweet looking machine.
Yeah, their answer to the Lowrider S is it's a very cool
The
bike.
bags are functional.
Yeah.
There's tons of tech on that bike. It looks mean. We sat on a few. They were sweet. I don't think the Challenger is a bad bike. I just think the fit and finish doesn't look right. The Chieftain is a nice answer to the Street Glide. I just don't love the paint. I don't love the fit and finish. It's, again, fit and finish. It's sitting on the bike. It's what it feels like to me. I prefer Harley Davidson. Yeah. If you prefer Indian, we can ride all day. We can get along. I want to see them succeed. I don't want to see any American company fail when they have passion for their customers, passion for their product.
And deep-rooted history in the country.
Keep it 100%. Keep it priced right. Don't try to, alienate your buyers by becoming something they can't afford. Don't abandon your dealer network.
Be an American-made product. Build in America, assemble in America, and sell in America.
I think Harley Davidson, the past couple years, has lost tabs of the rider.
Absolutely.
We have dealerships closing because they had to have quotas of bikes that sold every year, or they had to buy them. You had dealers getting loans to have bikes that sat on their floor hoping they would sell them. I think Harley Davidson went in a way that they were trying to put stockholders money in their pocket, and we kind of lost the fact of your local dealer,
they became very company,
and the person that bought your product.
Yeah. Instead of being a company for their customers, they started being
stockholder
customers for the company.
Yeah. So
and
that seems to be a big thing. Like the new CEO of Harley Davidson had an all-staff meeting, and he said, listen, what I'm hearing and what I've learned is we've abandoned the rider. We're not going to do that. We're going to go get back in touch with our local dealers. We're going to get back in touch with our riders. I think the first thing he did was stopped all the quota sales. And that was killing overseas market. We had Japanese dealerships that had been dealerships since pre-World War II.
Yeah.
They were closing because they were having to have such a quota of bikes on there. They didn't have the floor space in their shop to have all the bikes they were supposed to have to remain open as a dealer. So I hope Mike Kennedy does a great job at Indian. And I hope Artie Stars does a great job with Harley Davidson. I love King of Baggers. Who would you race against as Harley Davidson if Indian fails? I don't want Indian to fail. I want Indian to make a great product that makes most Harley guys go, you know what? I'd ride that Indian.
Yeah.
And I want Harley Davidson to make products that Indian guys are like, you know what? I can get behind this new CEO. I've been against Harleys, but I'd give that one a shot.
Yeah.
And if you ride it, you be honest, you enjoy your time, and be bigger than your closed-minded thought about a brand. I mean, if I ride a bike and it puts a smile on my face, I'm all in.
That's a good motorcycle.
It's a great motorcycle. You don't have to buy every motorcycle you enjoy. But I don't want to see any of these companies fail. I think it's a great thing to see Indian stand alone. I wish nothing but the best for them. I hope they can reach some younger riders and get them excited and put some product out. I just think their marketing is lacking. I think motor clothes, if you want to use a Harley Davidson thing, I've been in Indian dealerships. I do not find their accessories, their gear, hats, I don't find them to be that
And then you walk into a Harley Davidson dealership and they've got Harley Davidson silverware for your house and a Harley Davidson coffee cup and any hat you can think of, a different style. They got shirts for men. They got shirts for women. They got shirts for kids. They got literally everything you can think of that you could put in a house, be from your clothing to eating to just decorations on the wall. Harley Davidson has it, And then they've got the perfect thing for your garage, which is going to be the Iron Pony of whichever you decide, whether it be a bagger, whether it be a Dyna, which we love both of those here, and even the Softails. Where Indian has only got their bikes and maybe limited shirts or limited hats.
Yeah, I don't think Mike Kennedy needs to go try to make Indian Harley Davidson.
No.
But I think Mike Kennedy is like the ultimate win in this situation. He has seen a motor company grow. He has seen Vance and Hines link up with multiple motorcycle manufacturers and be the aftermarket powerhouse that they are. He knows what the culture is asking for.
Yeah.
And I think his creative mind and knowing a good leader will surround himself with a good team. I think Indian could see a big bump in the next 2 to 3 years that could set them up for the next couple decades. That being said, this was a fun show tonight.
Yeah.
We had a good time. Again, this is being recorded on Friday, October 17th. Should be out for the viewing on October the 18th. Your audio podcast will already be out by the time this video hits. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. Interact with us. Please let us know if you think anything more about these helmet safety rules. What's your opinion about Indian motorcycles? If somebody in here on our feed rides an Indian, I want to know what you ride, what you like about it, what your dislikes, why you picked Indian over other brands. If you ride any other brand, why'd you pick that bike? What got you into riding? But I think that's big news. You're going to see it on there's tons of YouTube channels that have covered that this week. But if you guys come here, we want to be your source for everything Harley Davidson, and we want to be a pulse of the motorcycle community. So, we got anything else to add?
Not really. I just was going to say that we really appreciate y'all reaching out. Like I said, the helmet thing, we didn't know if we would get too big into that, but someone reached out and asked us to talk about it. And this has been something that we've enjoyed filming, but even something more that we've enjoyed researching about it. We learned some new things. We hope you guys learned some new things from this. But this kept us having a conversation to talk about all week over the phone while we were gone. And we just appreciate all of y'all's feedback. Keep, subscribing, keep liking, and keep commenting and reaching out and telling us the things. Tell us what you ride. Tell us what you want to hear. Ask us questions that hopefully we can answer. But we'll take, y'all's comments that you want. We're looking for y'all to tell us, something that you want to hear us talk about, because then we can make an episode to answer that question. And also that will just make the whole channel a lot more fun, because we'll make it from being just a channel for people to watch to a community that y'all are interacting with, and we're interacting back with you. But I'm going to say that's all for today's episode, guys. Just remember, you can find us on anywhere you find podcasts. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you've already found us there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And like I said, leave a comment. But that's it for today's episode. We appreciate everybody. And we'll holler at y'all next time.
We're also on X at BNB_pod if you want to meet us up on that platform. Again, thanks for riding into and now out of this conversation with us this week. You riders, be safe and be blessed. See ya.